there's a bit of a definition for overthinking, and it's basically referring to the process of repetitive, unproductive thought. I think that's a really helpful definition to recognize. If we're going around in circles in our mind and we're not getting to any resolution, any solution, then and we're finding it hard to put the mind down, then yeah, we're definitely moving into the realms of overthinking, and that is unhelpful. It can create a huge amount of stress for the body. Overthinking has been linked and scientifically to chronic issues like anxiety and depression, unsurprisingly, but at least the science and the studies have shown the link between overthinking, depression, and anxiety. It's been shown to reduce energy levels, create more fatigue and tiredness. No wonder, because until you learn to think less, you really don't realize how much energy is being used up by incessant unconscious thinking. It uses so much energy, and until you stop it, you don't realize how much more energy is available to us on a day-to-day basis, or to heal if we're needing to heal something, for example. Overthinking limits our intuition. It basically is so loud that our intuition is drowned out by it often, and hinders our creativity. It can also create a lot of relationship conflicts. Now, there are some that are there and we need to deal with and face, but some are actually imagined. I know it might be hard to believe, but sometimes people don't actually say what you think they've said, or they'll say something and then we'll completely make a different thing inside ourselves and completely paraphrase it and completely get attached new meaning to it. And it can create a lot of conflict and distance with us, between us, if we're doing a lot of thinking in between actually the conversations when the other person isn't actually there. We'll get onto that in a bit. When I was looking up and researching for today for you, I came across a study that I think I shared a couple of years ago with you, which was from the University of Michigan. I don't even remember this one, but it's quite a cool study because it found that 73% of adults between 25 and 35 overthink. 75%, that's quite a lot in that age group. Moving up the age groups between 45 and 55, it's about half, about 52% of people are overthinking. I mean, that's quite significant. These are big numbers when you're talking about 50% of people, 70% plus of people. And the study that always sticks in my mind about overthinking is the Harvard study that found that the average person is lost in the thinking mind for, do you remember? 47% of the day. That was the statistic they came up with. Now, I personally think that's a conservative number. I think that it depends on how they tested that, and some thinking can be really subtle. And so depending on how they tested it, some people might not have been doing the study or being studied, may not have been conscious really of the more subtle realms of thinking. But let's just say that the average person is lost in the thinking mind for 47% of the day. So that would mean it's about half the day lost in the thinking mind. You know, when you're lost in the thinking mind, that's when someone's like talking to you and they stop talking and you have no idea what to say because like you weren't there. They were talking, but you weren't there. You were missing it. Life is happening and we're missing it. We're tuned out. We're tuned into our mind instead of the moment. Most people are doing that for 47% of the day, half of their day. Half of the day is half of their week. Lost. It was happening, but they missed it. It's half a month. It's half of the year. It's half of a lifetime. Whoops. Gone. Missed. It was happening, but we weren't present to it. We were somewhere else. We were in our mind. We were in imagination. And that's really what thinking does and overthinking does. It causes us to miss life. And for me, I'm going to go through some of the side effects of overthinking, but really the number one for me was that one. That's why I'm starting with it. Like, I don't want to miss half of my life. I don't want to miss half the time with my loved ones. I don't want to miss half my time with you. I don't want to miss half my time here. You know, that's such a waste. If I manage to live 80 years, I've only got 40. That seems like a bit of a shame. You know, I want to get more than that. And so for me, that was the motivation, that life is happening all the time, but we can be missing it if we are being distracted. So the mind is happening here. Sorry, the life is happening here. But we can be kind of living our life a bit like this, distracted. We've withdrawn our attention from reality, and we've identified in a mind-made version of reality. And we're kind of talking about life instead of actually living it. We're thinking about it, but we're not actually living it. We're essentially, when we're overthinking, we are one step removed from life. Does that make sense? Like, your life is happening, the live feed of life is happening, but we're just a little bit delayed talking about it to someone in here, someone. We're just chatting away. And we're doing a lot of things in that conversation with ourselves, which might not be so helpful when it comes to experiencing more peace, happiness, joy, freedom, love, and all the good stuff. So when we're thinking, it's a bit like listening to the radio. I remember a few years ago, I used to drive around England a lot of my year, going to Mind, Body, Spirit festivals or doing a workshop. And most weekends were filled with me driving somewhere. And I would love that time where I kind of finished and I was driving home and I was listening to the football on 5 Live. And what I found fascinating was that it was always advertised in 5 Live, hence the name of the radio station, as a live football match or whatever they're showing that day, but it happened to be Saturday evening or whatever. And so it sounds like the football is live. You're hearing the commentator going, okay, the ball has just been hit from this person to this person, etc., etc. It sounds live. They advertise it as live. But the reality is we're hearing a slightly delayed feed, because for the commentator to know who hit it and where it went to and what happened, it has to have happened for the commentator to actually be commentating on it. It has to have happened. Okay. It's more obvious listening to the radio commentator than the visual one, potentially. But they're also delayed as well. You're watching the game live and the people are talking about it. They're commentating, but it's slightly late what they're saying. And that's basically your mind all the time. The moment has to have happened for the mind to know what's happened so it can talk about it. It has to have happened for the mind to know what's happened so it can talk about it. And so the moment it's happening, the mind is a little bit late, the commentator is a little bit late. So if you really do live your life, not just being here, but thinking about what's happening here, you're going to be spending your time one step removed from reality. And no wonder people wake up at some point and go, I feel like there's something missing. I feel like there must be more to life than this. I feel like there's this itch, like there must be more. And there is. But the more isn't necessarily in the future, the more is actually here. The more is actually experienced by being able to tap into reality. That's why it's called real-ity. It's real, like the realness of the here and now. And this is not news or, shocking information that you might want to live as much as possible in the here and now. People have been teaching this for a very, very long time. So why don't we do it more often? Well, to be honest, it's a habit. It's a habit. Most people are raised by people that believe they have to think all the time. And we get taught growing up to think all the time as well. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know about you, but I didn't have my parents or anyone at school saying, just so you know, like, you don't have to be thinking all the time. In fact, you can spend most of your day, like in the high 90s, in peace and pick up your mind just whenever it's useful to use it, and then you can put it back down. No one ever taught me that, but it's actually true. Another reason why we can find ourselves feeling compelled to overthink is it's a self-protection mechanism. You know, if you actually think about, maybe I shouldn't use that term, but if you stop to consider or you notice what you tend to think most about, it's kind of about our maybe finances, relationships, health. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the big things. And we're often thinking about how to either avoid bad things happening or fix bad things that we appear to be happening. You know, so it's okay to not beat yourself up and go, hey, thank you, mind, for wanting to try and protect me and keep me safe. And I'll turn my phone off so you don't ding anymore. But thank you, mind, for keeping me safe and wanting to protect me. But there's other ways to actually do that. We're just not necessarily taught it. So it's a protective mechanism, it's a habit, and also it can boil down to a case of mistaken identity. Like we believe we are our mind. We believe we are the voice in our head that sounds like us. We believe we are our feelings. We believe we are the images that are being conjured up. We believe we are our past. We believe we are our possible future scenarios. We believe ourselves to be these things. And so inevitably we're going to identify in the mind and be the mind. We're going to think that's what we are. And we're going to be hesitant to stop thinking because we might lose ourselves. But all you're ever going to lose if you stop thinking is the mind-made version of yourself. And it's a really cool exercise to do. If you do think you might believe yourself to be your thoughts and your mind and all that stuff, to actually start to withdraw your attention from the mind, start to play with what we're going to share with today, to release all that chronic overthinking and see what's left. See what's left when you're not identified in all of that. You know, one of the big self-inquiry questions that people explore through when they're doing meditation stuff is, you know, who am I, and who is this that's talking, and is this person that's talking in here, is this all that I am, or is there more to me than this voice in my head? So we can start to challenge it and ask questions and start to wake up from that case of mistaken identity. And I could take a week to talk about the benefits of that, but I'm just going to say that it's very, very well worth our time. And I'm aware of time, and I want to keep this kind of short and sweet and to the point so you can have it as a reference.